Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports. Coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners in Latin America, also across the pond, and London, England, as well as Paris, France. Of course, you good old boys in Canada. We love you in Africa, the Big C tribe. But there's no one we love more than the good old boys down south in the land of the free and the home of the brave. On a beautiful April the 27th, Ronald the Portuguese, Big C, is out taking care of some business with the good old boys down south. Really looking forward to getting them back in the saddle. I want to say today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive yours, just tell them Charlton and Big C sent you, as well as a fleet of Cadillac cars. Also, Big C Sports is powered by Google and Alexa. Just say Google or Alexa, play Big C Sports Podcast. You will hear from our sponsors. You will hear welcome to the show. I will introduce Big C as the Mystic from 3,000 miles away, and he will do his thing, and I really appreciate the way things are growing with Big C Sports. You can follow Big C Sports on Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. But you gotta have a smart TV or you'll be sitting there looking at a still picture. Want to take the pause? As the whole sports world is on the pause. In fact, the whole world is on pause. Counties are being shut down, cities are being shut down, states are being shut down, and the country's starting to open up in some states. It's a slow pace, but it's like a snail's pace. But there hopefully is some light at the end of the tunnel. All I can say is pay attention to science. Some people are saying, no, it's okay to go and share, whatever it is, pathogens with people. Other people are saying, no, it's not safe to go share pathogens with people, but it's all fair and love and war. I want to make sure we take care of our veterans, our military veterans. They go through wars for us. They go through a lot of things for us to keep our country safe, and that's why we have the land of the free and the home of the brave Veterans Crisis Hotline. They can get some help. There are people who are experienced in helping veterans and their loved ones. 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net, and you can get some help. Really want to make sure that people know that. Not everybody knows that, but I've been hearing that number on a lot more shows lately. Really appreciate being able to give that out. Also, very happy to be affiliated with Valley Homes Weekly TV on Dish TV, DirecTV, AT&T Uverse TV 53, home of the San Francisco Giants. When they start swinging the bat again, hopefully we'll have that sometime, hopefully this year. Hopefully the days of summer are getting here pretty soon with the world of Major League Baseball. Man, I just really looking forward to that. And when you reach out to them, let them know Big C sent you. The goal, recruit 100 real estate brokers, put their property listings on TV, just like McDonald's does it, just like car dealerships do it. You can let sporting events, when they get back into the swing of things, they can do it too. Let real estate work for you. And I'm really looking forward to that. 800-772-8624. That's 800-772-8624. Man, we had a really good NFL draft, like the only thing on TV really, and it's nice to see, it was light at the end of the tunnel. A lot of people loved it. Some people said, I don't watch that stuff. I know a lot of young men, their dreams are coming true, and to see it happen, it's a little bit different. We didn't have the Las Vegas theatrics the way we wanted to see it with the Bellagio Hotel and the water fountains. They were going to bring some people out on boats, kind of like Noah part the Red Sea, or Moses part the Red Sea. They were going to bring Noah's Ark out there and have some athletes, some nouveau riche NFL players out there on the water, on the lakes at the Bellagio, but that didn't happen. But it did happen on television. I thought Roger Goodell did a good job, even until he decided to sit down because a little bit tired of standing on his feet all day. That's a nice looking chair that he had in his house too. It's not bad. I mean, I thought it was a really good thing. I do want to just touch on a few things happening in sports before getting into the draft. Some news in Major League Baseball. The Rangers Park is almost possible with Major League Baseball to start. We just hope that it's there. The Rangers are working on their park, and the ballpark out in Los Angeles for the Los Angeles Rams and the Los Angeles Chargers. They're working on that too. Hall of Fame broadcaster Vince Scully came home for the weekend, so it's all fair and love and war in LA when Vince Scully is able to get out of the hospital after a fall. And I know he's being 92 years old. When you fall down, you want to make sure that you're okay, and he was able to do that. So some other things happening in the world of NBA. The NBA plans to reopen facilities on May 8th, and we'll talk more about that too. The Lakers got a $4.6 million stimulus check from Donald Trump. POTUS, or Congress, part of the stimulus package, and they were nice enough to do their audit and realize that was too much money and they didn't need it, so they gave the money back. Big C, it's nice when you have a bank account so large you can give back $4.6 million and not miss a beat. So we're really looking forward to that. And I know a lot of good things are happening in the world of sports. I was watching over the weekend, there's a program, and it's by, his name is Dwayne Johnson, plays The Rock, and it's called Ballers. And I was watching that program. It was on HBO. It's a TV series, and they had a lot of characters in there, a lot of NFL players making their cameo appearances. And I think I watched almost every episode. I had heard about it before and had the chance to sit down and finally watch it because I had some spare time to do that, and I really enjoyed that. They had a program that has been, to me, I wish it would be like a weekly series. They had a guy in there in a big Cadillac Escalade. They called him Big C, and he was rolling up in there, and some guys were doing some workouts down in L.A. It showed also some of the things we talk about when you go to the high school campuses, and the guy's already driving a $100,000 Mercedes, and he's a 17-year-old high school kid, and sometimes people give you the paper bag, and he gave the story how if he wants to be recruited, they got to meet his mom with a paper bag full of money, and that's how he decided if he was going to let people go and decide if he was going to come to their program. There were some big name programs in there. I always talk about the USC Trojans. They were a part of that. They also had the Ohio State Buckeyes. Of course, The Rock went to Miami. In fact, when will USC and Miami play another football schedule? I think they played back in the 67 and 68, and I believe Miami won the first game in Florida. I think it was 10-6. USC, I believe, won the second game at the Coliseum, and I think that was like 26-3 or somewhere along there. But it's always great when you can have some of the top programs that can finally get together and then talk about what they're going to do if they decide to make that schedule happen. I know USC plays Notre Dame every year. It would be nice to have Southern California versus Florida. I would say USC is the prodigal program of California, more than UCLA, more than Stanford, and more than Cal Berkeley. And I know that we all have this whole thought that everybody wants to decide who's going to play, who's going to play who first, and like who's on first, who's on second. And I know we all have this thought about who we want to see play, and I'm really looking forward to having those good old boys get together and do that football game. If they decide that they want to have a East Coast versus West Coast, Miami and USC, that would absolutely be amazing. So if USC and Miami schedule a game, that would be a great game to see them from East Coast to West Coast. I know, talking about players getting drafted, a lot of people are looking at some of the teams that actually send a lot of players on to the NFL. So that would be a much needed, I would think, East Coast versus South competition. Two prodigal programs that have won multiple national championships. So really looking forward to a lot of good things that are happening. But I know the whole world, if we'll get Big C on the line in just a moment, I know the whole world is very happy about what happened in the world of the NFL draft. Big C, I think we have you on the line. I was watching this program over the weekend. It was actually called Ballers. It's with Dwayne Rock Johnson, and it chronicled his career when he was at Miami and then went on to play in the NFL. That's what they had in the program. And then I think he had the chance to become a sports agent. But they had a guy in there by the name of Big C. He drove a big black Cadillac Escalade. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, it's a very popular car, very comfortable for a big man to ride around in. And when you look at the show's Baller, we all used to be ballers back in the old days.
Yeah, in the old days I really loved the way they would mix they had real players in there that showed up in the program. I would love it to be a weekly program and as opposed to just a special, but I know everybody has a lot going on in the world of sports. But it's all good in love and war. I want to tell everybody, before we talk a little bit about the draft and how some young men have actually had their lives changed by the NFL draft. Anyone looking for their stimulus check, go to IRS.com. Check my payment status. That's IRS.com. Check my payment status, and it should be some information they'll ask if you can fill out and see where it is. I know some guys at the White House, they've already got paid a lot of money. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, you always got to have somebody at the front of the line, and when you look at this government and it hasn't had everything appropriated right, there's always going to be a lot of misinformation going out there.
Yeah, there's still some people, some business owners saying, what stimulus? They haven't seen any stimulus. All they've seen is some bills that have come in, Big C, but it's all fair in love and war. Also want to just mention this thought about the NFL draft. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But I know as far as getting stimulus checks out there, Big C, it's so funny how even in the NBA, I know they want to get the sport started again, but I believe that the Lakers actually received about $4.6 million of stimulus money. And after they were checking out their books, I guess they said they're going to give it back. It's not bad when you can pay out, $4.6 million, Big C, your thoughts?
Well, large corporations have always been in front of the line. When you have people that are very innovative from an accountant point of view, as well as have a load of attorneys, it's easy to be able to get around and cut all the red tape to get funding. Yeah,
it really is. So hopefully they'll let some small business people. It's nice when you give a $1 billion corporation even more money, and some good old boys are still trying to get their hands on their stuff. NFL raise, man, they did a good cause. They really did. I know everybody has their own thoughts about NFL, what's it stand for. Some people say not for long. Some people say National Football League. But right now, need funding to last. NFL raised more than $100 million during the COVID-19 relief, Big C. I thought that was amazing. It really shows how if the NFL really wants to get their hands behind anything, if they really want to back anything and push any movement, they can do it. And they did this in just a couple of days, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, when you look at the world of sports, the NFL is the pulse of America when it comes to sports. It's the most popular sport that's running in the world. Seems like everybody wants to be a part of it or want to watch it, Charlton. And so when they go out and they do community service, which the NFL does all the time, it's not just based on the draft. This is something that they've been noted for decades, charitable contributions, community involvement. They've been in the forefront of everyone. Yeah, they really are. The statement from the league office, they wanted to make a difference by honoring and supporting those impacted by this pandemic, especially those on the front line. Roger Goodell said he's thrilled to share his thanks with a lot of generous contributions from the NFL family and more. The $100 million is a lot of money in the real world. In the NFL, it's not that much money, but it's a lot for the cause. And there were more than 926,000 confirmed coronavirus cases in the United States alone as of Saturday, according to the New York Times, and more than 50,000 fatalities because of the virus. Even with that, there's some states that are still opening up business. I was just seeing on the news earlier this morning, some people are actually going to get haircuts. They're having the barber with the mask on to avoid spreading pathogens. And some good old boys were sitting down without a mask on as if they don't watch the news. Big C, your thoughts? Well, it's like in the purchasing world, let the buyer beware.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all, in a dire need to get back to some semblance of reality in the world, Charlton, and in America. But you also have to understand what the health concerns are.
Yeah.
And when you have people from, the medical and science community letting you know that it's really not safe, I mean, what is a haircut in chances of getting a coronavirus? Is it really worth it?
Yeah, I guess for some people the answer might be yes, because they've already tried the bleach. They said that may or may not work. That came from someplace. There's a company, not even a company, there's a Centers for Disease Control, and they deal with people that have poisoning by ingesting the things that are not meant for the body. I know POTUS took a lot of flack about that, but it's amazing. Some young kids listen to that, and there's poison control centers all over this country that deal with people who ingest dangerous and life-threatening chemicals in their body on a daily basis. I thought that was very reckless for him to make that statement, but it's all fair in love and war. I still want to finish up.
When the president went out there and said, take one fluorescent light bulb and a shot of Lysol and a shot of bleach and see how you feel in the morning.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very irresponsible of him. You know, you have to understand, when you have a commander-in-chief, you have to say things that are responsible.
Yeah.
You're responsible for the entire United States. And when a lot of young people listen to false information, they have a tendency to follow. It's just like on the internet. You can't believe everything you say on the internet.
Yeah.
But when the president is telling people unproven facts and expecting for people to follow that, and he says, you know, he was being sarcastic, he was being real because he was asking Dr. Burke these questions about running tests on it.
Yeah.
You have young people, Charlton, that are not always the most intelligent and will follow false information.
Yeah.
And here's a man being reckless when you're sitting in the pulpit in front of millions of people.
Yeah. It's amazing because sometimes adults can be ignorant, but sometimes kids just don't know. I mean, they just don't know. That's why they put labels on it. I do want to say that the NFL will be donating the money to the Salvation Army, the American Red Cross, Meals on Wheels, United Way, Feeding America, and the CDC Foundation. We just talked about that, Centers for Disease Control. And it's also auctioning off some signed memorabilia, jerseys, and more things as part of that fundraiser. So really, they do a great cause. NFL has its own challenges too, but there's a lot of that people are really looking forward to, and I really appreciate that. Before we get into the draft also, you know, we've seen baseball played in South Korea, and there are no fans, but those are real people running around the bases. So I was telling you that I thought the NBA would study that, and all the sports leagues will. And we know we're going to have a golf celebrity tournament coming up pretty soon with some big name players. But the NBA, they're pushing back on workouts on a workout day to amid the uncertainty. Science is not uncertain. That's the amazing thing. The only uncertainty that's coming is coming from politicians. Science is very accurate. But the NBA, Big C, I want your thoughts. They pushed back on its original plan to allow players to re-enter team facilities for voluntary workouts by a week until May 8th. The league had been planning to reopen facilities beginning on Friday, including the Atlanta Hawks facility in Georgia, which is one of the states that let people go in and get haircuts and do other things too, which was among the first states to loosen the coronavirus pandemic. I mean, it's amazing when you look at science, and there are people saying, who cares about science? But give me your thoughts on the NBA, maybe pushing back some. It's very sensitive. They can't get this wrong. If they get some people sick, it's going to make it even worse than holding off a little bit longer. Big C, your thoughts?
Charlton, I don't question the intelligence of any of these professional leagues. I question the stupidity of any of these professional leagues. To say that it is a matter of life and death that you have to have sports being played in America when you're still under a lockdown and quarantine as a country.
Yeah.
And what you're talking about is putting people out there, and they may not have been tested. That's the thing. As the NBA tested all the players, as Major League Baseball tested all the players, how many players have to be infected to pass it on to another player?
Yeah.
And so to say that you're setting up dates for people to get back to work, I mean, we're talking about America and the world. Because if you have players that are playing, you're damn sure going to have fans that are going to want to attend.
Yeah.
And so there's going to be a fight all the way across. And so you're going to have lawsuits that come up from fans saying, well, if the players are playing and I bought a season ticket, then I have the right to be there. So this is the biggest problem that we're facing.
Yeah, ironically, there's a 16-page memo that the league set out today that detailed, think about this, it detailed to the teams of reopening facilities, including allowing only 4 players in a facility one at a time and having only one staff member supervising. No coaches are to be allowed in the workouts with the players. The memo said they have to keep a distance of 12 feet. So they're willing to sacrifice the players, but they don't want to sacrifice the coaches. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, until all the broadcasters get together on television in studio and they believe that it's safe to be within proximity of each other, why should they be pushing for athletes to go out and participate in body contact?
Yeah, and I think most of those athletes happen to be African Americans. For every African American, just Google the Tuskegee experiment. Google it. Tuskegee experiment. They injected 400 black men with syphilis to allow them to cohabit with whoever they choose without their knowledge. They were testing to see if the vaccine worked, and now they're trying the same thing in 2020. Sometimes if people don't read, they'll be out there hugging and high-fiving. It's just the way things are. Big C, I want to wish them all the best, but I want to get your thoughts. We've had the 2020, NFL draft. I know everybody has their own thoughts about what this means. Is Does it mean that the league is going to come back now? We don't know what it means, but I do know. I just want to get your thoughts. I only watched a couple minutes of it. I recorded it, but I didn't want to sit around watching too much of it. But before we get into it, I want to start with the AFC East. Before we even go there, just give me your thoughts. Did you get into it? Did you record it? Did you sit down and watch it for 3 days? I gave it about an hour, it seems, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, I have a set bedtime. I can't stay up past a certain time. So the hours that the NFL draft runs, they're past my bedtime. So since I'm on restriction, I have a tendency to go to sleep.
Yeah.
But, when you think about the draft actually starts with free agency.
Yeah.
When you're sitting up wondering how a team going to do. And when we saw free agency open up over a month ago and teams started signing talent, readjusting their rosters and making those moves, that's when it all started. Yes, yeah. I mean, when you look at the NFL draft, the first round means something, the second round, and part of the third round. Because your first-round draft picks are guaranteed a roster spot, and generally your second-round draft picks. When you get to the third, you're hoping that those players can make an impact. After that, you're sitting around saying, can we find a way to fit these players into our roster?
Yeah, they all want to find a way to do that too. And I know, just thinking about the Buffalo Bills and what they were able to do, they're always looking for a way to improve. I know you can look at the biggest acquisition they made was actually when they traded for Stephon Diggs. That was a drastic move to give the offense more of that home run threat. I know he didn't get Minnesota to Super Bowl, Big C. Nobody has in many, many moons. But give me your thoughts. They're going to help out with running back Zach Moss, and then they'll also have a compliment for Devin Singletary. Give me your thoughts on what the Bills were able to do in the draft.
Well, when you look at the Bills, they made the solid move, as you say, in free agent with Stephon Diggs. They also drafted a backup quarterback that the media really had no problem with. Josh Allen just now entering his third year, and yet they go out and draft Jacob from Georgia to bring him in. And there's no been media cry about are the Bills, moving away from Allen.
Yeah.
But, when the Bills, when you look at them in totality and what they did, they had a very solid draft. And the players that they brought in the first couple of rounds are really going to help them, in the running back position, wide receiver position, and offensive line. So this is a team that, is on the upward swing and potentially could be the best team in the AFC East.
Yeah, and sticking with the AFC East, I know there's a lot of people that love what the Miami Dolphins were able to do, and it's just because I watched the movie Ballers. They actually had Larry Slonka was in there as part of one of the characters, one of the coaches in the movie Ballers. So it's just ironic that Miami had a good draft, in my opinion. So when you think about what they've done, they really got the guy they wanted, and the quarterback Tua, and they got him out of Alabama. When you think about it, he was to me, I thought he could have been a first choice, number one overall, but sometimes you have a little hitch and you giddy up, and people say no. Give me your thoughts on Miami and bringing in Tua. They also have some offensive linemen in Austin Jackson, Robert Hunt, and then Solomon Kindley. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Miami made its best move in free agency. When you look, they got at least 6 starters they could have gotten out of free agency. They really upgraded their running game. They picked Jordan Howard up from the Eagles. They also picked up Mostert from the 49ers. They picked up Quinn as a pass rusher. They picked up defensive back from the Cowboys. So when you look at their secondary, they have 2 solid corners. They have 2 great pass rushing ends, along with the draft picks they had last year. But they hit a home run in the draft. Yes, they got 2 in the first round, and there's no pressing issue for Tua to have to play. You have Fitzpatrick there. You also got Josh Rosen. Well, Josh Rosen and Tua, they met 6 years ago in high school playing over in Hawaii, and Tua came off the bench as a sophomore and beat Josh Rosen, so they're back in competition again. But they got some help with the receiving corps, so this is a team that's ready to make a move in the East. I mean, and it's up for grabs in the East between those teams.
Yeah, it really is. I want to take you to the New England Patriots. They've been as stable as sunshine over the last 20 years. Is Jarrett Stidham the answer to Tom Brady's replacement at quarterback? They actually passed on Jordan Love, and I was surprised by that. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, I mean, when you realistically look at the draft, Charlton, was there a quarterback that came out in last year's draft that made a difference with an NFL team as a rookie? Was there a quarterback that came out 2 years ago that made a difference as an NFL team at the start of the season? The quarterback position is a crapshoot. Everybody you draft at the quarterback position is that you expect for them to be able to play, especially if they make your roster, which Jarrett Stidham did last year.
Yeah.
The Patriots were a team, when you look at where they were they were a team that was led by defense last year, and this is where they went in the draft. It went defensive-wise. If you don't allow an offensive score, then you have an opportunity to win. And when you look at the Patriots, they would have been a team with 10 victories last year, just scoring one touchdown in 10 games. So they're relying on their defense to be strong once again, and they'll get ready for next year's draft if they're looking for a quarterback. And there's still some quarterbacks out there available. Cam Newton's available.
Yeah.
Andy Dalton potentially will be available because the Bengals still owe him $17.5 million if he stays on the roster. So they're not void. You know, if Bill Belichick makes a move, he's going to make a move for a veteran.
Yeah, he's been doing the right thing, pulling the right notes for the last 20 years. New York Jets, Big C, the front office, did they give Sam Darnold enough weapons? I know when you think about the Jets, the Jets, Jets, they still have to find a way to make Darnold an accurate passer, no matter what they do with the offensive line, no matter what they do with the running back situation, whatever they have. But give me your thoughts on the New York Jets and how you feel they can protect Sam Darnold, or should they start looking quarterback shopping next year if they can't get some performance out of him this year, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, when it comes to the Jets, Shelton, you got to realistically wonder where is Sam Darnold in his development. I mean, you can go out and you can draft people. They drafted an offensive tackle to start off the thing with Becton.
Yeah.
But, you know, it comes down to what is Sam Darnold going to do? You know, it reminds me a lot of what Green Bay says in all the media about the Green Bay Packers is that, you know, they didn't draft Aaron Rodgers any help. But, you know, you get a guy $155 million, that means he should be able to make anybody better.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold has struggled since his junior year at USC, and he struggled his first 2 years in NFL.
Yeah.
They didn't draft a backup quarterback, so they still have a lot of confidence in him. He just has to learn how to throw the ball.
Yeah, he really has to. I wish him well. He's a Southern California kid. I now want to go to the AFC North before we come up on the Big C pause. You look at the Baltimore Ravens, man, they were positioned to have home field advantage all the way through the playoffs last year, but it's not how your record is or being seeded the top team. It's how you play in the playoffs. And they went out and got Ohio State's J.K. Dobbins in the second round, even though they returned 3 running backs that helped them set the NFL record for the most rushing yards a season ago. Give me your feeling on what the Ravens did. Did they improve or did they stay the same, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, this is the team that did massive improvements in free agency. They went out and got some big-time defensive players. And they also did that in the draft. They picked up a couple more key defensive players, a linebacker. They picked up a wide receiver, Duvernay, out of Texas. So when you think about them surrounding Lamar Jackson with talent, they've done it at running back. They've done it at the receiver position. Their offensive line is massive, so they don't have any fall off there. They lost Yonda to retirement, but they picked up a kid out of Mississippi State that they should be able to pencil in. It's just a matter will their passing game improve. We know they set an NFL record for rushing last year. Everybody's going to be in line to defend that this season coming up, if there is a season.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson has to become more of a polished passer.
Yeah, he really has to. I mean, he looks so good at times, but when that pressure's on, I'm not just going to blame him for losing or winning. It's a team effort, but want to see more out of him. I want to go to one of your favorite teams, the Cincinnati Bengals, and you think about it. Is Andy Dalton on the outs? Is he going to have Burrow sit behind him? Burrow was the number 1 overall pick. But, I mean, I'm going to get your thoughts on this, too. I know people say, we love Joe Burrow. He can throw all the passes. When you have 14 players from one team drafted, they could have had me back there throwing passes, Big C. But give me your feeling on Joe Burrow. Will he be as good in the NFL, or will Andy Dalton still be the favorite choice for at least the next year, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, I look at Cincinnati's receiving corps. I'm not concerned about who's throwing the ball to him. When you got John Ross, A.J. Green, and they picked up Terrell out of Clemson, the rookie who was an outstanding T. Higgins, who was an outstanding receiver. So you got a set of triplets in the receiving corps. That offensive line should be much improved, and they made some moves, to do that. They also had Jonah Williams, who did not play last year, their first overall draft pick.
Yeah.
So when you look at the Cincinnati Bengals, they went heavy on the defense in the draft. Because you have to be able to stop somebody in the NFL.
Yeah.
One quarterback, yes. It's nice to have a quarterback if he can develop into the potential that everybody's expecting, or will he have to sit for a few games if they keep Dalton on the roster?
Yeah.
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
Who will be the quarterback at the start of the season?
Well, I know that they have a lot of choices right now because they still have Dalton, and they got this number 1 pick coming in there that had 14 players take it from the same team. That's more than some conferences had, Big C. We're going to take the Big C timeout, also known as the Big C pause. When we come back, we're going to talk more about the NFL draft. All right, we are back from the Big C timeout, also known as the Big C pause. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on the #1 podcast network in the universe, iHeartRadio Podcast. You can follow Big C Sports on Apple Podcasts. You can follow Big C Sports on Google Podcasts. You can follow Big C Sports on Spreaker.com. The app that I love is by Google and Alexa. Just say Google or Alexa, play Big C Sports Podcast. You will hear from our sponsors. You will hear welcome to the show. I will introduce Big C as the Mystic from 3,000 miles away, and he'll do his thing, and I really appreciate the way things are growing with Big C Sports. You can follow Big C Sports on Xfinity, Comcast TV, Roku TV, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. Really appreciate that. Also, I'm proud to be affiliated with Valley Homes Weekly TV on DirecTV, on UTV, and then AT&T, Uverse, as well as TV53, home of the San Francisco Giants. And when you reach out to them, let them know Big C sent you. The goal is simple: recruit 100 real estate brokers, put their property listings on TV, just like McDonald's, just like your car dealership, and maybe some sports teams soon if we can get over that curve. Looking forward to that. 800-772-8624. 800-772-8624. And Big C, I know as we get right back into the swing of what happened in the world of the NFL draft, a lot of young men have really made their dreams come true. They've worked hard for it and really appreciate the fact that not only have they worked hard for it, they were able to do it at home, and they weren't all the way out of town. They were actually able to sit down in some of the living rooms where they ate dinner. I want to go to Cleveland. Quarterback Baker Mayfield, can he take advantage of what Cleveland did after landing right tackle? It was Jack Conklin, and then tight end Austin Hooper in free agency. They also had some more draft picks that may help that team get over the hump and maybe back to the playoffs, and they've been absent for many, many years. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, this is a team that had a very solid offseason through the draft and free agency, and with the returning veterans that they have. I mean, Cleveland was basically 2 games out of the playoffs last year. With the new format that they have, if they improve on some games that, they just let slip through the ways. I mean, Baker Mayfield, if he can become more polished as a passer, he has all the weapons you can ask for. He has a solid receiving corps, solid running backs. He has 2 outstanding bookends at offensive tackle now. That defense should be much improved. So I like Cleveland's chances to be second in that division behind the Baltimore Ravens and even challenge them.
Yeah, and even challenge them. We keep hearing that, Big C. We've heard that the last couple of years. But I do want to go to a team that used to be very solid contenders for the NFL playoffs. I know Big Ben has been injured. You look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, Big Ben, elbow injury. Can he come back and play, I won't even say Hall of Fame type of football, but at least can he make a Pro Bowl effort this year? The Steelers, they did not draft a quarterback. They have Jameis Winston close to a deal, and a deal with the Saints. That's a storyline out of the window. At the same time, by not adding a quarterback in the front office, they have an injured quarterback, an older quarterback in Big Ben. What do you think about the Steelers and what they did in the NFL draft, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, this has been kind of a history with the Pittsburgh Steelers. You can go back some 3 decades, a little over 3 decades ago, when Dan Marino was coming out of University of Pittsburgh. And Terry Bradshaw, everybody wanted the Steelers to draft Dan Marino. 2 games into the season, Terry Bradshaw blows out his elbow.
Yeah.
That was it for his career with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they went years in no man's land trying to find a quarterback. This is an opportunity. I don't know how healthy Ben is going to be. The draft with the Steelers was not the greatest of drafts. It was. I would give it a middle of the road, grade.
Yeah.
But they need a quarterback. And, when you talk about quarterbacks that are available, that are out there, Cam Newton still sitting on the shelf, we don't know what's going to happen with Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
The Steelers always play great defense.
Yeah.
They just need a quarterback.
Yeah, they need a quarterback that's reliable, too. Getting a little bit of static. Big C will set it up in just a moment. I also want to take you to the AFC South. I know this is a team that was loaded, but they got rid of one of the best receivers in the universe, but they decided they don't need him. And you have coach and GM Bill O'Brien. The pre-draft news conference, safety was one of 2 positions he wanted to talk about. They got from the Browns, Eric Murray to a 3-year deal last month. They did not pick a safety, instead agreeing to a 1-year deal with veteran Michael Thomas. But no matter what they do, they still lost one of the best receivers that would have made their quarterback an easier finding someone downfield, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, this is a team that's on an emotional roller coaster right now. You get rid of the second best offensive player on the team because he doesn't have a relationship with the head coach and general manager. Deshaun Watson is the key. I mean, regardless of what you did draft-wise in Houston, I know they went heavy on the defense, picked up another defensive lineman to go along with an aging J.J. Watt.
Yep.
But this is a team right now that I think is in a little disarray. And when you look at the division that they're in with Indianapolis, they're going to struggle.
Yeah. I mean, everybody has sometime they want a Monday morning quarterbacking, but we're just looking at some things that may or may not make a lot of sense to a lot of people. I want to look at the Indianapolis Colts that you just talked about. Is Jacob Eason really the next franchise? The Colts, they've addressed all their needs, Big C. Receiver, offensive line, defensive line. They also added some speed in the backfield with running back Jonathan Taylor. But give me your thoughts on Indianapolis. They're still trying to find themselves, Big C. Your thoughts?
This is a team that had an excellent draft. When you think you said he addressed all their needs,
yeah.
They also drafted another young quarterback. When you look at Eason out of the University of Washington,
yep.
and running back and wide receiver. So they're a team that's stacked for the future. You know, the biggest question is what's going to happen with Jacoby Brissett. As they talked about New England not drafting a quarterback, that's where he came from a couple of years ago. And the other teams that are looking, when you're looking at Pittsburgh, and you know, there's going to be some moves at quarterback. And so there's three of them that I look at, veteran quarterbacks, starting with Cam Newton, Jacoby Brissett, and Andy Dalton. Who will they be the quarterback for next year in the NFL?
Very well said. How about if we go to Jacksonville, where they love the Jaguars down south? They tried to work out a trade for Leonard Fournette about a month ago. They were not able to get anything done. There's still some time to do something before the season starts. Fournette accounted for 1,670 yards last season. If he gets dealt, they're going to have a hard time replacing that production. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, this is a team that's, you know, as they said, tanking for Tua last year in Miami. This is a team that potentially, with the New England Patriots, that are tanking for Trevor Lawrence out of Clemson. You know, when you look at the moves that Jacksonville did not make this year in the draft, is that they're looking a year ahead. They got rid of Nick Foles that they gave a big contract to last year. That was their first sign that they were in the market for a quarterback. They're going to run with Gunnar Minshew. But they got rid of two of their top defensive linemen. They got rid of Jalen Ramsey last year also. So this is a team that's going to rebuild.
Yeah, they're still trying to do it. Also, a Big C, we look at the Tennessee Titans. Man, turn around and just give the ball to Henry. The Titans went through the draft without selecting an edge defender. Even though there's some good ones on the board, think about they need to find a way. How can we keep – I mean, if a guy can average, 10 – I won't say 10 yards a carry, but sometime he was doing that in the playoff games. Vrabel have to find a way to build around the running back, but you can't just count on that, Big C. Your thoughts? Looks like we're having a little bit of technical.
Henry led the league in rushing.
Yeah.
And this is a ground and pound team. They got some young receivers that were rookies and first-year guys last year. So this team is solid.
Yeah.
When you think about Tennessee, Mike Vrabel plays a hard-nosed brand of defense there. And they made some slight adjustments in the draft, but they're pretty pat where they were returning.
Yeah, looking at the Tennessee Titans. Apologize for a little bit of technical difficulty. That's what happens when you have some inclement weather. Denver Broncos, I want to move out to the AFC West. Will the Broncos get a deal done for safety Justin Simmons? And here's a place where they love John Elway. But since Elway came there, he's made a good move when he had Peyton Manning come to there and help them win the Super Bowl. But since then, they still haven't been the same. I hope that Von Miller's feeling better. But are you impressed at all with anything that the Denver Broncos did with the great John Elway, Big C?
I'm really impressed with what the Denver Broncos did. You know, this is the team that really upgraded their offense. They got a good offensive lineman in the draft. They picked up three excellent receivers, two wideouts and a tight end. So what they're looking at is Drew Lock, you know, growing. You know, they got Cortland Sutton. They have the tight end that they drafted last year, number 1 overall out of Iowa. So Noah Fant. So when you look at the receiving core that they have, they understand they're in the same division with the Kansas City Chiefs. And the need for speed in the AFC West, this reminds me of the old days of the AFC.
Yeah.
When Al Davis used to talk about speed, you know, getting over the top. And when you look at what the Denver Broncos did draft-wise, I mean, they could put together a track team and run with it.
Yeah, they really could, Big C. And we're also going to – you talked about the Kansas City Chiefs, and will defensive tackle Chris Jones play for the Chiefs this year? They didn't trade him before the draft and haven't signed him to a long-term deal. this is a team that's so loaded, they really don't have to do anything but maybe make sure that Patrick Mahomes stays healthy. Big Z, your thoughts?
Well, when you look at what they did, they picked up a running back, and that's what you need. You need to have at least 2 running backs by committee in the NFL. So they picked up players out of LSU. And then when you look at what they did defensively, they drafted some key players for defense. But when you're returning 20 or 22 starters, there's not much you need to do other than stay healthy.
Yeah, just stay healthy. What about the Las Vegas Raiders in the draft geared toward mimicking the Chiefs? Did the Raiders do enough to catch them? I know they have a good receiver. I really love Henry Ruggs III. He's a very fast guy, a big physical receiver that came out of Alabama. Big C, give me your thoughts on Gruden and Mayock. Are they making strides? Are they rolling the dice down in Vegas? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, they kind of mimicked the Denver Broncos in the draft, Charlton, the need for speed. They went out and got a couple of wideouts, just like the Broncos did, because they understand the division that you're in. If you're not able to run with the Kansas City Chiefs, you might as well not even show up for the game. So when you think about AFC West in total, the Chiefs come back with all those great receivers that they had. The Denver Broncos really upgraded their receiving corps. The Raiders did the same thing also. They picked up Ruggs, but they picked up a guy, I think, in the 4th round out of University of Kentucky, who was the most versatile player in college football last year. When you think of it, he played quarterback, he played running back, he played receiver, he was a kick returner. So they brought in a true Army Swiss knife that reminds me of Randall L., who used to play with the Pittsburgh Steelers when they won their last Super Bowl.
Yeah, he really did. I want to take you out to Los Angeles with the Los Angeles Chargers. I mean, they have a lot of good things coming to the brand new stadium, but they got to figure out what they're going to do. I know they got Anthony Lynn at the helm, and they got your guy that out of Oregon that you like sometimes, but you don't like when the pressure's on. In Herbert, Big C, your thoughts?
Well, this is the team that's pretty packed. You think about where they were 2 years ago when they were a 12-win team. They're not much farther from that, Charlton. They had a lot of injuries last year with the Chargers on offense and defense. All those players are back. You think about the draft picks, they got Murray and Herbert. I look at the quarterback that they have, in Tyrod Taylor. He reminds me a lot of Steve DeBerg back in the day. Steve DeBerg was a guy that was always with a team and turned around and they were drafting somebody in the 1st round. You look at what Tyrod Taylor did in Buffalo. They turned around, drafted Josh Allen. He goes to Cleveland. They turn around, draft Baker Mayfield. Now he goes to San Diego. They turn around and draft Justin Herbert. But he's a guy who's always been able to tutelage young quarterbacks. And I look at the weapons that the Chargers had, and like I said, the AFC West is like having a 440 relay team with all the teams in it.
They have a lot of good, fast teams. I want to swing it over to the NFC East. How about them Cowboys? Dallas Cowboys, they can't keep going into the season talking about, can we get Dak Prescott signed? But I do know they made a really good choice in the receiver category. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, picking up CeeDee Lamb really helps. When you think about the receiving corps, they also picked up another receiver later on in the draft. But the Cowboys are stacked on offense. They had to replace Frederick at center. They drafted a center in the 4th round. But this is a team that can make some waves if they stay healthy. They can't go out and play lackluster football early in the season, though. But the Cowboys have all the offensive tools that they've ever needed.
They have that and a little bit more. New York Giants, Big C, over in the NFC East. And will they sign Marcus Golden or Jadeveon Clowney? Everybody wants Clowney, but whenever they have him, they keep him for a year and get rid of him. I still think they got to build around their running game. And that's my opinion. Give me your thoughts on what the New York Giants need to do to get back into the playoffs, Big C.
Well, they brought in 2 solid offensive linemen, Charlton, so that should really help. They went heavy on the defense on the linebacker side, so that was their weakness last year. They couldn't stop anybody. But now they got help for Jones and Barkley on the offensive side. So, it's a matter of how well all these players can gel together and how fast.
Yeah, now, I don't want to make you mad, Big C, but the Philadelphia Eagles, how will Carson Wentz react to the addition of Jalen Hurts? We know Jalen Hurts knows how to win. He took not only Alabama, but he took Oklahoma to the college football playoffs and even has a national championship in his back pocket. Played in 2 national championship games, and people are saying, why would they bring him in? And they still have Carson Wentz, who hasn't been able to stay healthy since college. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, I don't understand the strife from the media. There's been a lot of negative backlash against 2 black quarterbacks that were drafted. Here's the Eagles drafting Jalen Hurts in the 2nd round. And the Eagles had a pretty solid draft. They got some help for him also at the wide receiver position. But when you look at Carson Wentz, since he's been in the NFL, the Philadelphia Eagles have played 6 postseason games. since he's coming to the NFL in 4 years. You realize that Carson Wentz has not taken one snap in the fourth quarter of any of those 6 postseason games.
Wow.
That's the reason for Jalen Hurts. And when the media needs to understand is you have a guy, he might be great during the regular season, but he can never get you into the postseason and play. But that has to be concerning for any team, that you have a quarterback in 6 postseason games, he's never taken a snap in the fourth quarter. The NFL has changed.
Yeah.
And so that's where Jalen Hurts comes in. This is a guy who's multifaceted.
Yep.
He's not just a quarterback. He can run the ball, but he's intelligent, and he's a team player. And everywhere he has gone, players have gotten better around him.
Yeah.
And that's what the Eagles are looking at.
Well, I think they have. I mean, you can't go wrong with them. But in the last 10 minutes, Big C, Washington Redskins, did they do enough to help Dwayne Haskins Jr.? I know they got a running back receiver, Antonio Gibson, but this is a team they still got to build this team. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, it's up to Dwayne Haskins. How much work is he putting in the offseason to become a potent NFL starter?
Yeah.
Washington has the weapons offensively and defensively. They picked up Chase Young. They have 4 number-1 draft picks on the defensive line. The offensive line, when healthy, and you got to understand, they lost each one of their starters at least a couple games last year.
Yeah.
If they can stay intact and that running game can be improved, which I think it will be, they picked up some speed. Dwayne Haskins just needs to be more poised in the pocket.
Yeah, he has to. I want to swing to the NFC North, Chicago Bears. You think about this. They have a lot of good players on the Bears team, but they really got to decide if they like their quarterback. Give me your thoughts on what the Bears were able to do in the draft.
Very confusing. When you look at the Bears and they're drafting tight ends, they have 7 tight ends on their roster.
Too many.
And yet their need was for a wide receiver. They criticize other teams for not drafting wide receivers. The Bears are one of those teams that should be on their criticizing list. And so, I'm confused and conflated about where they are. They had a lot of needs, and I don't think that they met and filled any of those needs.
I don't think so either, Big C. I want to go to the Detroit Lions. It doesn't matter what the Lions do. They find a way to lose no matter what. They got linebacker Julian Okora, Big C, but that's a good start. But give me your thoughts. Is this just a place where teams go, or players go, and they don't have success, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, they picked up a running back in Swift. This is the team that, perplexes me when I think about the quarterback position. How healthy is Matthew Stafford is going to be. I mean, he has the most yards for any quarterback at this point in his career that's never won a playoff game.
Yeah.
So, that's the thing. Is he a leader, or do they need to look at a new direction?
Yeah, well, speaking about a new direction, can we get some love for the Green Bay Packers? Jordan Love coming out of Utah State, Big C. I thought he was a nice pick. But I've never seen a team get mad that they're drafting a quarterback that many people thought was one of the top 2 or 3 in the country to back up Rodgers, Big C. Your thoughts?
What's amazing is that NFL teams draft for need. You think that they do.
Yeah.
And you think about it, 15 years ago, the Green Bay Packers did this same thing with Aaron Rodgers coming out of Cal when they had Brett Favre on the roster. Aaron Rodgers, he's not going to play the 4 years left on his contract with the Green Bay Packers. The team understands that. As everybody keeps saying, well, Aaron needs help. Aaron needs help. If Aaron is as good as he is, he should help everybody else become better.
Yeah.
But you have to draft a quarterback at some point when you're looking at an aging quarterback. Either take a guy in free agency or draft a guy. Jordan Love is just like Aaron Rodgers coming out of college.
Yeah.
He needs some work because Aaron Rodgers only had 2 years at Cal because he came out of a community college.
Yeah.
So when you look at Jordan Love, and if Rodgers embraces him, Rodgers knows his career is going to end eventually, just like any other quarterback.
Yeah.
But when I look at the media and their disdain for the 2 black quarterbacks that were drafted, because you put them behind 2 high-profile white quarterbacks, saying that they're not deserving, and here it is, none of those quarterbacks that they were drafted behind has won a Super Bowl in the last decade.
That's very well said, Big C. We're going to try to hit the 3-minute warning. I want to go to the Minnesota Vikings. Do they have enough for your friend Kirk Cousins to do his magic? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, the Minnesota Vikings are loaded still. I mean, they picked up enough to really help them out moving forward in the season when you think about where they are.
Yeah.
They gave Kirk Cousins a new quarterback. They gave him a new receiver. They were in the top 10 in rushing last year in the NFL. So they improved in some key positions. It's just a matter, can the quarterback improve?
What about the Atlanta Falcons? Is the defense fixed yet? I know they still think about 28-3 giving up that lead, but that's about not knowing how to run the football, Big C, to the Patriots back in the day. Are the Dirty Birds, did they fix their wings, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, they did a lot of work on the defensive side in the draft, drafting defensive linemen and cornerbacks. And that's where the Falcons were. They couldn't stop anybody last year. They couldn't stop a nosebleed with a truckload of guards. So the Falcons hopefully improved on defense. They got the big weapons on offense in Ridley and Jones, and they picked up Gurley.
Yep.
Matt Ryan has been consistent over the years. He just has to cut down on his turnovers a little bit.
If we swing it out to the Carolina Panthers, can fourth-round pick Tony Pryor Jr., can he really develop into that number one cornerback? They still got to figure out what they're going to do with the cornerback, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, when you think about what Matt Rule did in his first NFL draft, he drafted 7 defensive players. He drafted nobody on offense. They felt that they had enough from the receiving core last year that was developing. Under Allen, you bring in Bridgewater, who is a very control-oriented quarterback. You sign McCaffrey to a big contract. They're in a division where you have to stop people. Atlanta has a high-potency offense.
Yeah.
New Orleans has one. Tampa Bay has a high-potency offense. So they went defensive heavy, knowing the division that they're in, and they know that they have a quarterback in Bridgewater.
That's very good news. We're in the 2-minute warning, Big C, 2-minute warning. Can the Saints afford all this star power at quarterback? I know they gave Hill a lot of money, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, the Saints come marching in, Charlton. This is a team that improved itself on the offensive line, which they needed to do to help the aging Drew Brees with protection. Alvin Kamara should be healthy. But this is the team that they signed the kid out of San Francisco to help it receive it. They need to up on defense. They've lost the last 3 years on a walk-off touchdown in the playoffs, but this is a hungry team that knows they have very little time left to be competitive.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I know they get Tom Brady coming down to help out with the Pirates on the side of the helmet. They also have Gronkowski, but those guys are old. Do you like what Tampa's doing in the final minutes, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, when you think about what Tampa is offensively, they improved because if they can cut down on the turnovers, you go from 30 interceptions down to 15 or less interceptions. That means you're going to have 3 more victories. This is a team that could have been in the playoffs in that situation last year. That means they will be a 10-win to 11-win team in Tampa. This could be one of the toughest divisions in the NFC now.
In the NFC now, I want to just throw this at you. We got the Rams out west, and we also have the 49ers. We have the Seattle Seahawks and the Arizona Cardinals. But coming up on a hard break, just give me your thoughts on how the NFC West did, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, when I look at the NFC West, I really like the Arizona Cardinals draft. They addressed all the needs that they have, and especially when they got Hopkins out of Houston prior to the draft. That was their number 1 draft pick. But they improved their offensive line. They improved their defense. But the San Francisco 49ers also got better when you look at what they did in free agency in the draft.
Yeah.
They get a receiver that they wanted that was number 1 on their board. They pick up Trent Williams from the Washington Redskins, so they pencil in a 7-time All-Pro offensive tackle. Their running game is still intact, and their defense. You pick up a defensive lineman, Charlton, that is hungry and Kinlaw, and you just get better. So, how do you say they're any worse? The Rams, middle-of-the-road draft.
Yeah, I think there's a lot going on in the NFC West. We'll talk more about it coming up on a hard break. I want to just tell you, I really look forward to what's happening with the NFL, and I know they're going to have hopefully a start to the season this year. We're going to come back and do a little bit different close for today. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on the number 1 podcast network in the universe, iHeartRadio podcast. We're going to do our show a little bit different today in paying respect to all of our first responders. As we always tell you, there's never ever an excuse for domestic violence. If you know any man or woman going through that garbage, please pick up the phone and call 911 because no one should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. As we always tell you, we thank you for our first responders. Have a super fantastic day.